Hi, I'm Ali. This feels a bit nuts. I'm sitting in my kitchen in Kent, in the Garden of England, which is just south of London in the UK. I am 39 years old. In 7 months and 7 days I will be 40 years old, and I promised myself before I was 40 that I would attempt to make a podcast. I'm looking at myself on the screen. I should be looking here at you. Hi. I am very, very passionate about knitting and crochet and craft. I am also a very busy working mum. I've got 2 daughters who are 10 and 5. I work 2 days a week for a museum in London, in South London, and I've got a husband as well, and a mortgage to pay, and a ridiculously busy life, and I've got plenty of reasons why I should not be starting a podcast. I've tried a few times before to make a podcast, but I've never had the guts to press publish, and that'll probably be the case this time as well. Let's see how it all comes out when I edit it. I have a lot of reasons why I shouldn't be doing this. I don't have enough time. I get far too anxious to be doing something like this. It's ridiculous. I'm fairly clueless on a large part of the subject I'm going to be talking about, although I'm pretty expert at crochet and most forms of craft and painting. Knitting is relatively new to me. I've only come back to it in the last year, so yeah, I'm not exactly expert on that, so there'll be a lot of mistakes that I make along the way. There's a good chance I will never have finished objects because I never have time to finish them, although I always have time to start them. We all like that exciting feeling of starting a new project, so I'll always have plenty of works in progress. I have a feeling that if I do start this and I immerse myself deeper into this bloggy, podcasty, yarny world, that it may lead to accidental random acts of spending on yarn related goodies, and I can't afford it. But I do have a couple of really good reasons why I want to try this. I am extremely passionate about my hobbies, crochet and knitting and the other crafty things I do, and I do think they're really important, and I do like to share that enthusiasm that I have with other people and the little bit of knowledge that I have. I've come through a lot of illness in the last, well, in my life, particularly in the last few years, and crochet in particular really helped me through that. And I find now, with taking up knitting, which is just that little bit more challenging for me because I don't know what I'm doing, is something that I'm finding very useful for coping with anxiety and stress. So I do think it's important for me to be able to try and share that with other people if I can. And the other reason is that I get very overwhelmed. I have a very overwhelming life. We all do. If you've, whether you work or you've got kids or both or either or, things can get very overwhelming. And when you're someone who likes to create things and you like to knit, you like to crochet, and you like to do all the other crafty things, you do tend to have that swirling around in your head a lot of the time. So in a way, this feels to me like it could be an outlet for getting all of that crafty whirlwind of stuff out of my head, and out there into the world. It might help. My plan is to do a fortnightly podcast. That may change. It may be much longer. It may be less. It depends how it goes. I may not even publish it. And the format will follow quite a lot of what you see in the usual knitting, crochet, crafty podcasts, work in progress, finished objects, things I've bought, and also just to give you an idea of how I fit my love of crafting into a very, very busy life, and probably talk a little bit about organisation as well. because that's really important, and it makes me feel a lot clearer in my head and my mind, and it makes me feel a lot happier when I'm more organised. So I'm on a constant mission to get myself more organised. And maybe just, I don't know, maybe this logging of weekly, fortnightly, longer life might just help me slow down a bit and take things at a gentler pace, and just help me to make sense of everything that's going on. That was a rabbity introduction. So, where to find me? I'm at the moment I am on Instagram as Starry Eyes Ali, which I will put along the screen here if I've worked out how to do it. I'm on Ravelry at the moment as Snip Snap Happy, which was my original blog name when I started blogging many years ago, which I don't do anymore, although the blog's still up there if you want to read. I may change my name to match my Instagram, but I haven't done that yet. So at the moment it's Snip Snap Happy on Ravelry, and I will post any show notes if I make them, if I publish on the blog that I've set up to go with this, which is littledropsofwonderful.com, which is what I am on YouTube, Little Drops of Wonderful, which was the name I chose to represent the little moments that I get in this otherwise crazy life, to sit and really enjoy my crafting. Okay, so finished objects. I have one. This is quite amazing. I never have finished objects, but I've been working on this all summer, and it's a crochet item, and it's a pattern by Sandra of the Cherry Heart blog, who's also got a podcast which I watch and thoroughly enjoy, and she did this Victoria shawl pattern, which is designed to be able to let crocheters, you know, use a nice luxury 4-ply yarn. I'm going to try and hold it up, it's quite big. Ready? So this is the main body of it. It's a triangular shape, and it's sort of got this lacy effect that's made with, I'm not very good at doing this, it's made with little puff stitches to create that kind of little, I don't know, embroidery on glaze type effect. But then the bottom, I've used Stylecraft Light in Clover. That's a 4-ply, which I had left over from another project. I just had a couple of balls of it, which was just enough to do the main body of the shawl. And then I used for the border Drops Baby Alpaca silk, and it used nearly a whole ball of that for this border. It really ate up the yarn, but it was so worth it. Look at that. Really nice, sort of gentle, soft, drapey, lacy effect. And I haven't actually tried this on yet, but I guess I would wear it a bit like in the winter, a bit like that maybe. Can't really see me a bit better. Okay. Like that. It's absolutely boiling outside. It's September the 13th. And it's boiling. It's like 30 degrees outside. It's horrible. It's supposed to be autumn. I was getting all excited. Strictly started. It was raining, and then all of a sudden we've got 2 days of some horrible heat wave. I'm not happy about it. Okay, so that's my only finished object that I've got. Apart from, oh yeah, a little bit of sewing. I don't sew. Really, I'm no good at it. I can make things, and as long as nobody looks inside them or looks at the seams or looks at the joins or looks at the many errors that I make, they're fine. So I make things for the girls, and I make things for me, mainly project bags. I made this is something I made in the last few weeks. I'll just hide the wonky bits. but I had some of this fabric left over. I've had it for years actually, both of these fabrics, this tropical one and this spotty one. So I just made myself a little tropical project bag, which I'm really pleased with. Got a little tag there, and it's just got a zip, which isn't very well done. Zips are quite scary. And inside it's got this organic cotton, which says organic cotton, which I bought absolutely years ago, and is perfect for a lining. So yeah, that's another finished object. Just ignore the loose bits of thread. I must remember to keep looking at the camera, looking at you and not at me. So this leads me on to my works in progress. I've got quite a few works in progress. This is quite exciting. So first of all, might as well do what's in here. Now, I was pretty excited about this. For my birthday, I treated myself, this is back in April, I treated myself to some yarn, some nice yarn. Can't really get the colour. It's coming up a bit, that's pretty good. So this is, see if I've got the little card. This is from MyMamaKnits, who I think is Sunshine Stewart on Instagram. And MyMamaKnits on Etsy. And Sunshine Stewart on Ravelry. And it is a 4-ply sock yarn, 75% wool and 25% polyamide, and it's 100 grams, which is 376 yards, 344 meters, and the colourway is called Squidette on the Beach, and I love it. It's got this kind of, it starts with this kind of sandy middle, which gets lighter and lighter into light pink, and then it goes into a kind of sandy, pinky, inky blue. And I wanted to find a project for it that would, I just wanted to see how it, I'm new to knitting, and I don't understand really how yarn works, and this is a gradient, so I wanted to pick something where I could just keep knitting in a plain stockinette stitch. I'm going to say that like I know what I'm talking about. Just knitting every row. That's stockinette, right? I should really Google it so I don't look so silly. Backwards and forwards. So I found on Ravelry the pattern for this, the Hitchhiker Shawl. So you start off with just two or three stitches at this end, and you do a certain amount of stitches before you bind off a few, and then you keep doing like that, and the little bind offs at the end of each row create these little toothy bits that stick out. So at the moment it looks a bit like, can't get it to, it looks a bit like a dragon's tail. So you can see it starts off quite dark, and I'm getting now into the lighter parts, and then I'll go through that into the pink, and let's see if I can show you. You can see the little flecks of pink. They look a bit red there, but they are pink. That keep popping up, and when those little bits of pink pop up as I'm knitting, it's just really pleasurable. I really enjoy that, and the little pops of pink. Love it. And these needles as well, because I don't have a very good collection of needles because I just buy them as I need them. I don't have a stash of needles, so to speak. So I ran to John Lewis to get the right size that I needed. So this is an 80 centimetre circular needle, and they are I can't remember. I think I'm doing it on 3.75 millimetres, which I had to buy. Now John Lewis only seems to sell circular needles, the Knit Picks, wooden ones. Is that gonna focus? Go on, focus on the needle. Doesn't like it, does it? I've never worked that out. Anyway, they're the wooden ones, which I didn't really fancy trying, but they're fine. Yeah, 3.75 Knit Pro Symphony, and they're quite good. I don't mind them. I don't know why I thought I wouldn't like them. They're a bit catchy on this bit. The wool can get a bit caught there because there's no sort of covering, no covering to stop it getting caught. But it's not a problem. It's fine. Doesn't get in the way, and that all lives very nicely in there. So that's my first work in progress. My next work in progress is this. Now I've been working on this for a while and I've kind of put it to one side because things got tricky. And I need to have a bit of space in my head to sit and work out how to deal with it. I don't know, maybe someone's got some advice. This is the lovely Mina of the Knitting Expats pattern for, it's the Highland Peaks Shawl. And it's all, I'm doing this all with Drops Baby Alpaca silk. It's really hard to show you because it's all bunched up on the needles. It's all over the place, but anyway, I'm doing it in red and grey for there, and then it's got this beautiful lace border, which I'm going to be doing in this green colour. However, it's a lace border, and honestly, I cannot tell you how many times I have done about 20 rows and then ripped it back. It's supposed to look like this. Can I do it? No, I can't keep count. So every time I get to the end of one row, and it is long, I mean we're talking about over 200 stitches here, and I think it's all going well and I keep count of each pattern repeat, and I get to the end and I've lost, it's not right. And I don't know how to overcome that. So I need to work out a method of, I don't know, keeping track. I've put stitch markers at certain points throughout so I can count in blocks rather than having to count the whole lot. And I know I'm starting off with the right amount of stitches. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. If anyone has got any advice on how to keep track of knitting a lace section and how to, you know, not lose track of your pattern repeats or lose a stitch, or to having to count 200 stitches every time, that would be great. I've got a lifeline in here and I just have to keep ripping back to it, and it's driving me bananas. So yeah, this is in timeout, and I'm desperate to finish it because we're just about to start, well, hopefully start to come into autumn, and I want to wear it, and I want to know, because it's this part so far has knitted up so quickly and it's been so much fun to do, and I was sort of halfway through thinking, wow, this is amazing, I can make some of these for Christmas, and I'll make one for my mum and I'll make one for my sister, it'd be great. And then I got to the lace section, oh god, I don't know what to do, help. So I will come back to that, but I need to get my head into it. I've got too much other stuff going on at the moment. That's going to be one for when my head can go straight into it. Okay, so my other work in progress is another one that's kind of in timeout at the moment. It's a pair of socks. Now this is the Wildflower and Honeycomb pattern, and I'm using Heritage. What am I using? Heritage Cascade sock yarn, 75% merino superwash and 25% nylon. It's the colour 5626. Doesn't say what the name of it is. There you go. And there you go. And it's the Wildflower and Honeycomb pattern, which is so lovely. It reminds me of the old style school socks. This is coming out quite bright on here because of the light, but it's actually a really kind of deep, kind of light royal blue colour. Is that focusing? I don't know. This is my lifeline. And it's absolutely beautiful, and I'm doing it, I normally use short circulars for knitting socks. I'm doing this on DPNs because they're for my daughter, and her feet are small, so I couldn't get them around the short circulars. So I'm doing them on DPNs, which is working fine. I was a little bit worried about it, but actually it's fine. I'm quite enjoying it. It's taken me so long to get this far though, that her feet have gone from a size 3 to a size 4. So I'm not sure that these are going to fit her anymore. So we're going to have to maybe remeasure and see if they fit her. I might see if I can get past the heel on here and then see if they fit. If not, I'll just have to frog back. It's all good practice. Yeah, so I've only done that. Only one. I haven't got another one on the go yet. So that's another work in progress. Also slightly in timeout because it's got tricky and I'm being a bit lazy about tricky things. Hang on a minute, just have a bit of tea. Which is going cold. That's just tea, just normal tea. It's about 10:30 in the morning. Anything before lunchtime has to be just normal tea. Right. I love autumn. It's my favourite time of year. Can't be doing with all this summer business and this heat nonsense. I don't do well with it. I've got a Scottish heritage. My parents are Scottish and probably somewhere in that Scottish blood I don't know, got some kind of genetic predisposition to preferring cold weather. And what goes hand in hand with autumn, if you live in Britain? Start of Strictly Come Dancing season. So they did the launch show the week before last. I was so excited because it was raining, it was a bit chilly, Strictly was on telly. I was so excited with this whole scenario. A glass of wine in front of the telly with the kids, brilliant. And I thought to myself, do you know what would be really good? Would be to cast on some Strictly socks, which I can then work on while Strictly's on, and see. I thought that would just be really nice. So hopefully by the final of Strictly, even with my slow going knitting, I'll have a pair of socks. I do apologise for this. These are toe up socks. I've never knit toe up socks before. I don't knit using magic loop. I can't get on with it. I will revisit it one day. So I knit on I just have two matching short circulars and I cast them on at the same time and I just work a little bit and do them at the same time. These are the Nathan of the Sockmatician podcast, who's also Sockmatician on Ravelry, has a recipe, he calls it, for toe up socks. And I am using for these, now these aren't in their own bags, I think this is the right one. It's Drops Fabel Print, and I think if I've picked up the right band, it's colour 911, 75% wool, 25% polymer, just basic sock yarn really. And I'm following the toe up recipe, and so far, I mean, when I put that on my toe, it looks so good. I'm really pleased with it. I'm also really pleased with the fact that I've somehow, despite my not being very good at it, managed to get them pretty much spot on in terms of matching up the yarn. Ta-da! So what you do is, he gives you the kind of, which I really, really was looking for and really needed, he gives you the proper way to calculate, hopefully, I mean they're not socks yet, I'll let you know, to calculate the amount of stitches you need to cast on for the size of your foot, and based on the size of the needles, the size of the yarn you're using, you knit your swatch and you work out how many stitches per inch you have, and then you do a little calculation based on the measurement of your foot. And then he also gives you a guide for how long to knit the foot, and then I think, I haven't got the recipe in front of me, but he then guides you through how to do a kind of backwards heel flap and gusset. I might be wrong about that because I don't have it in front of me, but you go through the heel, and then I just love the idea of, you get past the heel and then you just knit until you run out of yarn. So these are going to be long Strictly socks, nice warm cozy socks that you can put on under wellies or something, I don't know. So I'm really looking forward to how they come out. Really like the colours, they're kind of that little bit wacky, cut, autumny, Strictly. These don't have a project bag. I need to make a project bag for them. But I should probably get something with sequins, shouldn't I? Watch this space. Maybe I'll make a project bag. There's a couple of things I want to show you, which I've left in the other room. So bear with me 1 second, I'll go and get them. I'm back. Okay, there's a lesson learned, be more organised before you start recording. So, things I've bought, also known as acquisitions, but to me, things I've bought. Okay, I've got some yarn and I've got another toy to show you. Let's start with the yarn. So I treated myself. I don't often buy yarn, but since I've started knitting more, that's been one of the great pleasures really, is finding this wonderful sort of different indie dyed yarn and sort of following their makers on Instagram and just really seeing the process behind it, and it's just lovely getting enthusiastic about it and sort of looking at the colours and finding out, you know, what's me. And yeah, so Strand Designs, who I follow on Instagram, was having a shop update, and I was due to go out on a date night with my husband. We don't do date nights particularly, but we had managed to wangle a night out at a local restaurant, and the shop update was going to be at 9 o'clock. So I had said to him, look, at 9 o'clock I'm going to have to quickly look at my phone and buy these two skeins of yarn because I love the colours. So from Strand Designs, I got, I don't know how well the colours are going to show up. Not too bad. This is Dandoline, this yellow one. It's a little bit washed out here. I'm just wondering if I can stop the light coming through that way. Let's try and show you a bit more. That's Dandoline. And this one is Silver Lining, which is a kind of grey sky colour. And together, I mean, well, who doesn't like yellow and grey together? Absolutely lovely. I've no idea yet what these are going to become, but they're going to be something for me. Actually, that's really nice and soft. Yeah, so they're for me. I don't know, I think they might have to be something that goes around my neck. Now I've just done that. At the moment I just look at them and put them back in their bag, and then take them out and look at them, and then put them back in their bag and just enjoy them. Oh, and she sent, oh, I should also say, they are 4-ply sock yarn, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon, and they are 425 metres and 100 grams. And she sent me this lovely little sheepy progress keeper or stitch marker for crochet. Don't know if you can see that. There's her details. There. So I'm really pleased with those. They were my little treat for myself this month. So I will look forward to knitting those up. I also bought a new toy, which I never in a million years would have thought I would buy. But I took my children over the summer holidays to a local farm up the road, just the other side of Orpington in Kent, called Christmas Tree Farm. And Christmas Tree Farm is a small farm which has all kinds of animals, sheep and alpacas and llamas and goats and ducks and pigs and a couple of cows and some little miniature horses, and I think there's a turkey wandering around somewhere as well. And you go with the children and you buy buckets of food, and you can go around and just feed all the animals, and you go around with these buckets and the animals come up and the kids can hold up their hands, and they just, my kids absolutely loved it. They, excuse the pun, they had a field day. And my eldest is usually really, really wary of animals, but at one point she was just standing next to a sheep, feeding it grain off her hand, and she was saying, "I'm just having such a good time." They just loved it, and it was such a hot, sunny day, and we had ice creams, and it was great. It was really good fun. But there was 2 alpacas. They have 2 alpacas, and they had recently had a haircut. And I said to the owner, "What do you do with the fleece that you have off of the alpacas?" And he said, "Oh well, we usually just burn it. It's not worth anything." To which I was like, "Well, people, you can sell it. People want to spin it." And then I got into my head, I could do that. I could spin. Can barely knit, but I can spin a raw alpaca fleece. So I went on to a very helpful group on Ravelry, the name of which I've completely forgotten to write down for this, because I really wanted to tell you the name of the group, because the girls on there were so helpful. So let me just go, and while I'm going to try while I'm talking to at the same time go and find this group on Ravelry where they really helped me. And I said, my God, is this possible? Can I just ask him for these fleeces and sort it out? And their advice was basically, if you've never spun anything before in your life, it's probably not. You're probably going to be jumping in at the deep end and put yourself off within 5 minutes, because it will just be really difficult. Okay, the group on Ravelry is called UK Spinners. And they were really helpful. And I said, well, maybe I'll give spinning a go anyway. So I went onto eBay to see if there was any kind of, I don't know, cheap and cheerful drop spindles or something like that, just to see what it feels like. And I found this. This is a Mayan hand spinner. So what you do is, it was like 12 quid on eBay, and it came with like some sort of garishly coloured little normal bits of fleece and instructions that weren't particularly useful. So I had a quick look on YouTube, and you have a fleece in one hand and you hold the Mayan spinner like that, and you spin like that, as far as I can tell, and then you wind it on, and then you keep doing it. So as you can see, I have made an attempt. Now, when I showed the lovely girls on the UK Spinners group this, I said, look at this, it's absolutely appalling, but I'm going to keep practicing. And they all very kindly said, you've made art yarn. Thank you very much. So this is my art yarn, which of course was completely intentional. I was going for that, yes, thick, thin, bulbous, fraying. Anyway, that's my first attempt. So then I went to Wingham Woolworks website, and I ordered just some plain fleece. And at £2 for 100 grams, you can't go wrong, can you really? So I ordered three lots of 100 grams to have a go with. And I was quite astounded when it arrived at how sheepy it smells. We opened the bag and literally my husband was sat next to me. What's that smell? And I said, well, I suppose it goes without saying, doesn't it? It's a sheep. Anyway, what I've done is I've put it in one of these sort of breathable bags that you get from the wool warehouse when you order wool online. And I've had it out on the line for a few days just to air. So this one, this is the stinkiest one. This is a blue, what is it? Blue Face Leicester. Okay, just a nice white, very sheepy smelling fleece, which after a while you start to get used to it, and you start to think, oh, I don't mind the smell of that. And then I've got two others. One is a Shetland, which looks very similar. Just a nice white one, and this one is so soft. This one's amazing actually. Very, very soft. It's a superwash something or other. Don't know. WF superwash. Can't remember. Anyway, it's really soft. You can see there. Ooh, soft. Ooh. Sheepy and soft. Yeah. So, at some point when my head is a bit more together, I am going to try and spin that, because I've been doing quite a bit of research online. Or I haven't found a lot to do with this, but I'm not too worried about using this. I think it works. You know, the actual, it's the drafting and what to do and when to wrap it. I want to know, it's the drafting of the fleece, and then the spinning, and then how to stop it doing that, or even if that's okay, how to know how thin to spin it, and you know when to stop spinning and wrap it and then keep spinning. That's the kind of thing. It might just be a little bit of trial and error on my part. So yeah, so that's a new toy for me to play with. And then I've got some other sort of non-yarny things that I've bought recently. Actually just one, because I started getting a lot of invites. There's a lot of us turning 40 next year, so I started to get quite a few invites to various parties and stuff. So I had to very quickly buy myself a 2017 planner, and this one's from Paperchase. Now I really get cross with diaries where they make the weekend days smaller than the rest of the week, because for us, you know, there's a lot of stuff happens at the weekend that we need to write in. This one is a week to 2 pages, but actually you've got the dates on one side, so you've got the full week, and then you've got like a notes page on this side, so you can either go straight across and use both sides for each day, or you can just use this side and make notes over here, which is really handy because usually I have this open on the table and I want to see at a glance what we're doing in the week, and usually there's a shopping list or a receipt or a form I've got to fill out for the kids' school, or a check I've got to write, bunged on this side, which covers the rest of the week. So actually this is good because I'm always going to have this clear. I normally use the life planner, the Busy Mum's Life Planner, but yeah, I'm going to give this a go this year, and it was only £10 from Paperchase, so that's hopefully going to help organise. I want to include every week in this podcast a little bit of a vloggy section, just 3 minute short vlog about the week, about what I've been up to, about fitting in you know, what's been going on in the week. So let's do that now. Enjoyed that. That was my first attempt, and I haven't really got into the habit of filming things, so when I sit down to do knitting or anything like that, I need to get into the habit of filming that, because what I want to do is give a sense of how I fit my little moments of crafting into my everyday life, because that's what I like to see from other people. I love to see how they squeeze that in on the train or in other parts of their life, and I like to see what they get up to. I really enjoy that part of the podcast and that kind of vloggy aspect, so I wanted to include that, and I hope you enjoyed it. So plans for the upcoming week. as well as continuing with my works in progress and maybe having a go at the spinning properly, and possibly getting my head around that the Highland Peaks Shawl lace section. I've got I'm involved in a community group where I live. We're campaigning for sort of better road safety around where the schools are in the area. It's taking up quite a lot of my time, and it does get quite stressful. You know, ultimately, you know, it will be worth it, I'm sure, but at the moment it does feel quite stressful. And tomorrow we have to attend a planning meeting and kind of state our case in front of about 20 official people from the county council. Yeah, not looking forward to it. Sorry, the phone rang. It was my husband just phoning to say, I'm on my way home. Where was I? Yeah. Oh yeah, so stressful meeting with councillors, wondering why I ever got myself into it. But hopefully, ultimately, it will all be worth it. Do you ever do that? Sort of get yourself into a situation where you think, yeah, I can do that. It'd be really great. And then it becomes really stressful and you start to question why. And then... Anyway, so we're doing that tomorrow. And hopefully after that, I might be able to get my head out of that and into the things I really want to do. Like my kids and family life and just enjoying stuff. You know, slowing down and not worrying all the time. So over the next week I've got a couple of things planned that I want to do. I love reading, but I've got 2 children, and by the time the day is over and I've watched an episode of Australian MasterChef and flopped into bed and think I'll read 3 chapters of my book, I manage about a page and then I fall asleep. So at the moment I'm reading this. It's called Alice, and it's a kind of reimagining of Alice in Wonderland, or what happens after Alice has been to Wonderland. And my friend Claire bought me this. I took it on holiday and I read the first 3 chapters on holiday. Same thing applied then. I will read on holiday. Yeah, fall asleep immediately. It is so good. I am so hooked on this, and every night I want to read it, and every night I only manage a page and then I fall asleep. So I really want to read a couple more chapters of this week. So if the next time I see you and I've up to chapter 5, that will be a huge progress because it is so good. Really enjoying that. The other thing I want to do is, my friend Charlotte bought me this some time ago. It's a bit grubby. It is The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. And it's really interesting. It's a little bit extreme in some cases, but I have decluttered a lot. We moved a year and a half ago and I decluttered a lot before we moved. And then when we unpacked the boxes, I decluttered again. And then when we put everything in different rooms, I decluttered again. And I just seem to declutter all the time. And I don't know where it comes from, because it's not like I'm buying stuff all the time. So I would really like to read a few chapters of this and start to really declutter and make my life feel more clutter-free and serene. And then the final thing I want to do this week is, I am planning, now the kids are back at school, I'm going to plan a solo yarn trip to London. I've never been to Loop, I've never been to iKnit, I've never been to, I want to go to the Moomin shop in Covent Garden. And I just figured, I never go to London, I'm only half an hour train ride away, not even that. So I might treat myself one day, drop the kids at school and take myself up to London and do a little visit of all the yarny places, plan a little yarn shop crawl. I think I'm going to start planning that this week, although it might not happen this week, maybe next week or the week after. So that's something else I want to do. So yeah, so that's it. I hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to go now and watch it back and edit it and stick the bits in that I need to stick in, and then we'll see if I'm actually brave enough to press the publish button on it. I'm not sure. So if you are watching this and it is in the public domain and I have pressed publish, please press the little thumbs up button if you've enjoyed it, and so that I don't feel lonely and stupid. It's been really great to talk to you, and hopefully I'll talk to you again next week.